Hello. What does that actually look like? Hold on a second. I've got like a tiny preview window, so it's kind of difficult to see what the chat stuff looks like on it. But there we go. Let me tilt the screen as well. Let me put notifications off. So many things to do when you're starting out, eh? Okay, so I still don't have notifications like Twitch alerts. I don't have any UI, but I am streaming to YouTube and Twitch now on Restream, which is this mess over here. So, sorry, you can't see my cursor. It's this mess over here, the chat box, which is showing messages from Twitch and YouTube. Hopefully that works out and isn't full of garbage later on. Today, if you are joining me, I am going to be working on Gitstore 2. It was a little blog post I wrote just the other day. Hold on. Nope. This UI. Stop. Okay. So, what's the date today? Calendar always shows like a... Okay, so February 4th, 2020. Today I want to work on Gitstore 2. So there are a few things I expect I will get to, and I'm not sure how much of it I will get through. But I would like to work on the plan defaults and customization for new wizard. Now this involves a lot of Livewire stuff, a lot of Tailwind stuff, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by this point in just a second. I don't actually think I'll get much further than that, but let me have a stretch goal here, which is work on Stripe PayPal UI. Okay, and then as usual, the to-do section. So this is stuff I don't get to or need to remember for later. Format inspired by Matt Stauffer. Okay, so I am part of a team who works on Gitstore, which is an attempt to create it's a way to sell code that doesn't suck, but it is a growing thing. We have some people on it who are selling, and it's working for them, but for most people it's actually turns out quite difficult to know how to sell code. And so we are looking at making a new version of it, continuing to support the existing version, but looking to make a new version of it that offers the same or a little bit more functionality actually, but that puts the options in a very narrow band so that people don't have to come up with everything about how they want to sell. They can pick like a type of thing that they want to sell, and then we guide them along that process. Currently, that is looking like this. Let me just reset. So currently that's looking something like this, where there are potentially different ways that people might want to generate money or distribute code. And so depending on which of these you pick, you get slightly different UI. So for instance, if you want to give away code to populate a mailing list, as is quite common in the PHP community, then you would build a mailing list and go to the next thing, and then pick some stuff that would be given away. So let's say we just upload like an image file, some stuff that gets given away, and then some like behavior around how that gets given away, and then theme it, and at the end generate a marketing page that you can then share around with a unique URL. And I think the idea is that everyone should be able to use this and use like 80% of the functionality of the app without ever logging in. So that's what we're building for. But then for the remaining 20%, things like long-lived shops that you want to live more than a week, or complete plan customization where you get to deal with all the nitty-gritty. So if you're a power user and you want like the absolute control over how things look and work, having that kind of stuff as an upsell, having custom domains as an upsell. You know, we're trying to find ways to cater for everyone on free, but then have the development and the hosting of it supported by power users who have the money to spend on really rich marketing tools. So that's what we're going for. And this is an attempt to build that UI. We actually have a set of designs that Sean, the designer, the UX designer for the project, has put together, and they suggest some potential UI. So let me just make sure I'm not dropping a whole lot of frames. Nope, still looks good. Okay, still looks good. So Sean suggested step 1 as this, which is roughly what I've got here. I don't have the preview window here, and I think the idea is that the preview window changes. So this window here changes based on what option you've selected to show the different default plans here, and maybe a different layout. But then as you go through the process, you start to set things up. So depending on the type of thing that you pick here, next step is plans that are built around that idea, where you assign resources that people get, or resources, downloads, essentially, access to private repos, files to download. You upload those and you select those per plan. So you may have picked a type that has like a free tier, so anything in here people get for free, even if it's private repos, but they can get access to it. So you could pick from GitHub, you could pick from Bitbucket, or you could upload files like video tutorials. And then for like the next tier down, you can specify a price and an interval that it gets charged at, and a currency that it gets charged at, and maybe like 1 or 2 smaller settings that are useful to be able to set, but don't drastically change how the plan is constituted. And then an option for power users who want to have full control over how the plans look and work and feel. And then yeah, that's what that suggestion looks like, and then some customization beyond that. So here's an idea for theme selection. We actually changed, or we thought of an interesting way to demonstrate this, which is to have that preview window back here, but depending on the theme you pick, have that preview window dynamically change. So that should be a fun bit of code to work on. And then once you've gone through that whole process, having a look at your marketing page, being able to share this around as a unique URL for people to get access to your code, whether it's in trade for their email address, or whether it's to subscribe, and thereby getting download links for files and keys for GitHub private repos that you can then add to your local server or your production server, and so forth. So that's kind of what we want to build. And yeah, I'm kind of just plodding through that. I started this functionality in Livewire and Tailwind, and then in parallel Sean did designs for this, and now I'm kind of merging them together. And I've also been upgrading the code base to go from Livewire, all the way from 0.2, I think it was, now to the latest version that's up, 0.7, I think. So I've been neatening the code base up there a bit, and I actually want to dev in that, if you don't mind. So one of the things that I did today was that the Livewire component that renders all this UI is like a main component. That's the debugging stuff, is a main component, but then it nests other Livewire components reactively. So all the components are dumped into this container and shown selectively, but not all of the types of things you can sell, or the ways that you can sell, require all the screens or have them in the same order. And so what I did today was I set up this idea of workflows where, depending on what you want to do, you can give it a name and a key, but then you can also say what steps are involved in this process. and there's more functionality I want to add in here now. In fact, the plan defaults and customization needs to come into this place as well. So here we need to have a way of defining default plans for each type of workflow, and then allowing users to customize certain settings of those plans. So that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do now. Now this stuff gets used in a few places. It gets used on this screen where the key and the name is used to render these buttons, and then depending on what you pick here, it populates this type object. So you can see I go through here. This is collapsed by default, unfortunately, but each time I pick a new option, it populates this with a specific type, and then this type object is used in subsequent steps in Livewire components to figure out what workflow it's using again, so it can pull more information from here. So it's kind of like a casting system that's going on presently. Okay, but now, say for instance I want to build a mailing list. I would have a place, or I would need a place to say what repos are going to be allowed, what files I'm going to upload that people should be able to get. So maybe it's an ebook or an icon file, or a commissioned piece of art or something. And so that is this page over here, this who gets what page. Now the previous architecture that I did this with, I didn't really... what I wanted to do was have a place where people could select repos and upload everything, and then the following step they create their... Oh, I clicked something now. Yeah, okay, fine. Where they upload everything here, and then the following step they create plans and they select what goes in those plans. But Sean's design actually makes a lot more sense, where the default plan suggestions then have their own UI to upload these things, and so you upload them or you select them in the context of the plan that they belong in. So I had this all as like a dumping ground for that stuff, but now I want to have a list of plans here instead. And when you select a plan, then this UI gets put in a tabbed UI on this side. So that's kind of what I'm going to do now. The way that I'm storing state is a bit weird as well. So I have this main container component, and this is responsible for persisting most of the data. There are a couple components like files upload that caches some data. There's select repos that also caches some data, and these just do this because it makes sense from a resourcing point of view to remember some of these values, like remember what files have been uploaded, or remember what repos are available and selected, because then you don't have to do syncing stuff twice or upload files twice. So there is a little bit of state storage in one or two of these components, but the wizard, the main container component, remembers most of it. You'll see this putting some stuff in here, putting some stuff in here, putting some stuff in here. So the idea is each of these little things populates and has UI, but then when they want to persist something, they emit an event. And this container component listens for those events. And then right at the end, when I say, okay, here's all the data, make this page, then there's going to be a method in here called onConfirm that takes all of the little bits of stored data and creates the database entries, creates the unique URL, and then the store page is visible. So that's kind of what I'm going with. There's a bit of repetition here I'm not too crazy about, but anyway. If I want to have plans, I need to save them here. Well, not in this function specifically, but I need to save them in this class. So first off, I think what I need to do is I need to define what those default plans are in each workflow. And then I need to render those on the customize plans component, which is actually this, but minus some UI. Let me just show you what that current thing looks like. Show wizard. You see, I have this UI commented out, and this was the previous upload and select repos UI. So if I refresh this, this is where we need to start putting the plans in here, and then we need to move these Livewire components into this right-hand side and give them the context of the plan that we're storing stuff for. Okay. So first off, let's do default plans. Maybe I should split these out here. So list default plans for each workflow. Show default plans on in UI. Save changes to default plans. Assign repo selection and file upload to plan. Yeah, okay. I think that's okay. I think that's okay for now. Okay, so list default plans for each workflow. I am inheriting from a base workflow over here. So I will just have another abstract function in here called plans, and this must return a list of plans for each workflow. So donations, I say something like public function plans is an array that it returns, and this returns a nested array, I guess, which has an ID of you see, I think that this shouldn't render any plans at all. I think that this shouldn't render any plans at all. I'll tell you why. This specific workflow shouldn't. Because if I go... Let me comment this method out quickly. If I say accept donations and go next, it's going to take me straight to Stripe PayPal. It's not even going to show me the plan screen. So maybe what I need to do here is... I'm going to return a thing from here called add another option. Okay, so this is going to be the default. Name is just like a better formatted version of that, which I think matches the UI that we have. Let's go a few of these back. Add another option. This text is very Lorem-ish. Is upsell is true. Oh, sorry about that. It's very noisy. I had an itch, okay? Okay, so this will be the default that gets shown there, which means when we get to this point, then we should say plans is parent plans, and then add to this. Except that in accept donations, we shouldn't have this method at all, because it's not even going to show us the plan screen. So we go straight to Stripe or PayPal, that's fine. But if we go build a mailing list, who gets what? This plan option needs to be shown on. So let's go to that. Customize plans is what that thing is called. And then for each plans as plan. Oh, my down arrow stopped working. Also, I want to treat these as arrays because of how they're being stored in session, which is fine. Plan name. Let's make this a button because it changes state. Wire, click, and then this will emit. I'm not actually going to click on this right now. On select plan and plan ID. What do we want to do? Plan, just pass the whole plan and plan ID. For now, that's fine. Okay. So, error, yes, because I'm not passing any plans down here. So, the first thing to do is figure out, okay, customize plans. I need to pass a plans array here. And then I should also key this to the list of plans so that it's reactive. So I'll say customize plans is the prefix to this key, and then JSON encode plans. So now whenever the plans change, this component's re-rendered, which makes nested components reactive. So now I'm still missing a plans array, and I guess at this point I need to get it from the wizard component. So here I see I'm passing this in. You see I had existing plan UI that I've deleted since then. As customized plans is I think what I want to change that variable to. And then let's echo this out quickly. So plans is an empty array. Now, based on the type that I've selected, the plans should change behavior. Right? So when I select type, then I want to get the plans of the type. So now I have existing code for this somewhere. There we go. So I want to get the workflow objects for this type. So data type, this will actually be data ID. Is that what that plans workflow for type does? No, it's the whole type. So I can actually just pass that in like that. So now I should have a workflow when I select a type. So let me stop this quickly. Whoa. Right. I'm not actually passing that plans variable into customize plans. Let me do that quickly. Public function mount plans. I think I do want to remember what plans have been stored here. So for now, I'll just say session put plans. I'll prefix that. I want to start prefixing these variables as well. So here I'll say plans is session get. Oh, so slow. That's defaulting to an empty array in case it's null. And then compact plans. I'm still in two minds as to whether to do associatives here or compact, but for now I'm just, the habit is compact, so that's what I'm going with. Okay. Has created plans. Yes, so I also have this debugging info that sits down here. Has customized plans. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Fine. We're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good. So when I select a type, it should tell me the plans available for this type. Build mailing list. There's the workflow for this type. So I can go to show wizard where I select that type, and then I can say session put show wizard plans workflow. And so I want to bring this prefix down here. I actually want to start prefixing all these things, but for now I'll just prefix that one. And so that should actually render the plans out for me. Build a mailing list, go. Add another option. There's a plan, and I can click that and it will tell me the method doesn't exist. Oh, it'll actually, it'll just emit the event. Willis! Can't find variable plan. Okay. Customize plans. Customize plans. For each plans, as plan. Oh. It's doing that as a JavaScript variable. Oh. Hello? Oh, I also think it's not doing anything because there's no event listener listening for that event yet, which makes sense. I can shim that quickly, stub that quickly. So if I say on selected plan, and then create a method for this. I'll put it right after here. Public function that. This gets plan ID. I mean, I could just send the whole plan along. No, just one. Okay, so now when I do this, I should get a DD. Hello? I don't see a DD anywhere. DD! Did I call this the right thing? On selected plan. Customize plans. On select plan. Whatever. There we go. Selected a plan. Yay! And I get the plan identifier here. Okay. Good. Good. Now all this does is select the current plan that we are viewing. So before we go much further there, let's add a list of custom plans here. Array, return, and then this is a nested array that matches this. Now this is a gross way of defining this. I would prefer to have a more robust way of defining this, but for now this is what's happening. So there we are. Plans is parent plans, and I can do a, oh that's right, that was the correct level of nesting. I can, thanks to 7.4, do that. What version of PHP am I running? PHP-V. So I should be able to do this. I hope I'm able to do this. I guess I'll see. In fact, let's do that afterwards, because that's the last option, right? Okay. And let's actually call that defaults. So what are we going to call this? If you are trading, if you're building a mailing list, we can call this free because that's what it's in trade for. And this is not upsell, so this amount is 0, monetary amount, which is fine. We can just say amount 0, and then we don't have to check for other things like interval and currency. Cool. So let's go with that for now, and then when we render this we should have... Alright, we store that stuff in the session, don't we? Yeah, we store that stuff in the session. I actually think that's fine, because it's not like it's going to change that frequently. And do we want to store that in the session though? It's an array. Maybe we can pass this straight through. No. Plans. This is where Compact gets stupid, having to dereference it like this. Anyway. So now I should be able to flush this, build a mailing list, go pick one of these. Okay, cool. So it's doing that, but is it going to remember what I've said? How do we... How do we remember what is picked? or show that in the debugging info. Maybe we should do something like that. So if current plan. Okay, so we don't have that, we're not passing that variable down yet. If we go into the wizard, where do we store that? Selected plan, session put, show wizard. So if we do that and then get that plan out in render, oh, I miss undefined from JavaScript. So specific. Okay. Here we go. So debugging info should say nothing. Pick that. Debugging info should say currently editing plan, another option, currently editing plan free, refresh, currently editing plan free. So it remembers that beyond refreshes, which is what we want. And so this gives us context for repo selection and file uploads and basic settings, essentially. Okay. So cool. I mean, our mailing listing has our free things. There's only one tier of plans for build a mailing list, and then the defaults would be the upsell for completely customized options. So we can actually copy this over, accept donations, one time. Oh, let's make that proper. One time. One time. Get a bunch of money once. Oh. So the suggested amount for this could be something like $10. Currency USD, interval once. A second option for this could be monthly. Oh, that stuff. Monthly, accept monthly donations. The amount for this could be like $5 a month, and the interval could be month. Okay, so now when we go to this and we say accept donations next, we should actually have the customize plan step in there. So what do we have here? Select type, customize plans. Okay, flush, accept donations. Now you can do the customized plans. One time only, monthly. We'll add another option, which is an upsell. Okay, so that's cool. I kind of think this makes sense in terms of suggesting to people what they accept donations at. And they can change these amounts and these currencies, but then we won't allow them to change these things here. So let's say can change is an array of things, amount, currency. Same there. So when we have the UI in very limited settings on the front end, we can say, okay, around these fields, if they can change amount or currency, show those fields and then let them change it. They can't change interval because that's baked into what this plan is. Okay. So monthly, one time, Okay, cool. I'm kind of tempted to store these things in the same way as what type selection is being stored, because when we get to a confirmation page and we want to render these things out, I don't necessarily want to trawl through. But then how do we... So how is type selection working at the moment? Select type, it just encodes the whole type. Maybe we should do a similar thing for plans and not use the plan ID. So customize plans, emit JSON encode of the plan. So it's the whole plan that gets there. And then in Wizard we need to do similar JSON decode as what we have elsewhere. Here's an example of that. And so here it is JSON that we get, and then data is that. We can delete this thing. And then where we show our debugging info, we need to take into account that this is not an ID anymore. So let's flush quickly. Accept donations, monthly. So debugging should show the whole plan here. We're going to have to figure out how we do things like customizing these values. It'll probably be a method on show wizard that has on updated plan or on changed plan for when you change settings, that changes this object and then sends the whole thing through. Okay, so customize plans gets these plans in here. Current plan. Oof, the boilerplate is real. So I'm not passing that in yet. If I go to show wizard, no, not that, the view. Show wizard to the plan selection. And here I've got plans in here, and I can say current plan, and then I can just tack this on here. So again, this is reactive. So there's quite a bit of re-rendering that happens here, but I mean, I wanted to show the most up-to-date info. So another option which gives me this is upsell one time, gives me this option, monthly gives me this option. And so I should now, because I have the current plan in here, I should be able to go to customize plans and say, what does this look like when it's selected? So I can do this if current plan ID is plan ID. This should give me the control of that, end if. And so here I just want to start off by saying border blue 700 rounded. Oh, let's do that before. Border L3. I'm not sure if that's a valid unit of measurement, but I guess we'll see. So monthly should actually have these things in here, but I don't see it there. So it does actually have that. Boulder. Typo. Okay. Let's look at a little bit more styling that we have here. So it looks like we have, like, I don't know, PX4, PY2. And then plan name looks like it's quite big. Maybe a div. And there's another div down here which is plan description. And let's also style this then as flex col widthful. Yay for Tailwind. Description. Text XL, text SM. I'll just start with. And here we can also say else text gray 500, text gray, gray 900. Ooh, I have a message, and I really want to see what it is. About this one. Oh, don't leak the details. Yay! Jason tweeted. Thanks, Jason. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Very cool. I like that. My border is still not showing though, which kind of irritates me. Border L. Maybe 3 isn't a unit of measurement there. There we go. Okay, so that's much closer to the design. The design does show this as like a little thingy there though. So maybe let's change this to relative. And let's have a thing in here, div class BG Indigo 500 rounded. Okay, hear me out. If this is rounded and on the left there, okay. Absolute left 0. And top 0 and bottom 0. Yes! Great. Okay, and we also need some bottom margin MB4 in here, just to spread these out a little bit. So that's much closer to our design. The colors are wrong. Fine. So I should split these up then. This and like that and like that and like this. I hate this kind of formatting, but it's very clear to see what's going on. Okay, so here is where we'll put this background color. If it's selected, it gets this. If it's not selected, it gets gray. 100. Oh, that did not work. What did I do wrong? Oh, relative should be elsewhere. Here we go. Hey, that looks much better. This needs to be darker though. Maybe 300? Much better. And this margin is not good enough. PX. I wonder if we want to do... We already have padding on this side. You see how far that padding is off there? I wonder if we actually just want to do PL8. Yeah, I think that's better. Is it a bit too far though? No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, and then the heading is font semi-bold. Semi-bold. Okay, cool. So now this remembers what plan you're editing, which is great. I love that. I love it. So let's flash, share your code. Whee! Another plan. I actually think... No, it's fine. That's fine. Flash. Okay. Share your code. Another plan. Fine. Sell your app. Another plan, because I haven't done options for that. Build a mailing list. Free. Or another plan. Sell a theme is again just another plan. Accept donations is the 3 options. Great. Great. Now, we don't actually have to... these can be separate components, which is what I'm planning to do. The tabs here that manage showing GitHub and Bitbucket and upload files can be separate components. That's totally fine. They don't have to know what's being selected here. If the wizard container component accepts all of these events, then it knows what tab we're editing, because that's what it's showing, which survives page refresh. And it can know when it receives a file uploaded or repository selected event from here, it can pull what plan is currently being edited, and it can smush them together, which is really cool. The thing that will have to know what plan is currently being edited is the settings tab. This also makes me think I'm going to need to split Bitbucket and GitHub, because the UI shows these as split. So if I go one back, the UI shows these as split. So I have an upload component, and then I have a repos component which does both of these things. I might just split to have a select GitHub repos and select Bitbucket repos and upload, and then a settings component. And that settings component can be fed with the currently selected plan here. We can actually feed GitHub and Bitbucket and upload with the currently selected plan, just like we're doing here. And then when those events get sent, it gets sent with the currently editing plan. But at the same time, I can just have a settings component. How do I want to structure this? I actually like feeding these with the context of the plan that's currently being edited. I actually like that, so I think that's the approach I'll take. But for now, we are showing which plan is selected here. So build a mailing list, these are your options. Accept donations, these are your options. I'm so excited. We don't technically need to assign stuff for file upload or for repo selection. We kind of don't need those so much, because chances are this would be linked from a public repo. But I'm thinking in the case of like what Caleb just did with sushi, where he said the first the thing's like closed source, and then after 75 donations, if it ever gets there, he'll make it open source. And I kind of like that. Like, from this point of view, you can accept those donations and you can give people access to a private repo, and then you can just flip that repo to public when you've got your 75 subscriptions. So I kind of, or donations. So I kind of like that approach. I'm gonna keep those tabs here. Now we've already done. Okay, we've done the plans for accepting donations. Let's copy one of these. Build a mailing list. We've got a free plan. Get subscribers. We need to have the options for get subscribers. So again, I think this is going to be one time, monthly, yearly. And actually no one time, just monthly and yearly. Monthly access with smaller payments, yearly access with larger payments. Ooh, yearly. Hey, Resend PHP. Resender? I don't know how to pronounce that. A pronunciation guide would be much appreciated. Okay, let's say this is $10 a month for this thing, and for a year it's $100. Cool. So you can edit currency and amount. You can't edit interval. That's fine. So now when we go to get subscribers, we have monthly. Oh, and it's not remembering that for some reason. Error. What is this error? Unexpected end of file. Am I missing a comma somewhere? Gross. What am I missing here? Monthly. Description. There's a comma at the end there. 10 yearly. Can edit currency. I wonder what I'm missing here. This is really weird. Build a mailing lists options work. Accept donations options work. So what's up with that? I just realized I'm not on the right page for this thing that I want to see. That is not what I wanted to see either. Or that! Rescue me! I'm lost inside Restream's UI. cool. So it must be a bug in here, and it must be like some kind of comma that I've left out. Like if I drop these, get subscribers next. Is it related to... Oh, you know what it could be? If you pick an option here, and you go back, and you go get subscribers next, and you pick another option here. I think what it is that these things are not keyed properly. I think they're not keyed properly. So how do we... If we go customize plans, let's key these things. Oop. I'm fat fingering all over the place. Okay, so we don't actually have the type provided here. Okay, so in show wizard, let's give the type in here. And let's encode it on the end as well. Okay, so now I'm not going to pull it in and mount because I don't actually need it in the component, but I do need it in the component. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Please forgive me. Customize plans. Type is null. Type is null. Could you get here without selecting a type? No. I'm going to put it over here. Which means I've got to move it in the wizard as well. Let's put this right up front. Let's put this right up front. And then in customize plans, let's store it in here. Public type. I can get rid of this. This type is type. And I can get rid of this as well. Type is this type. So now I have it. It's actually necessary context here. Okay, but I am not keying this over here. So type ID and then plan ID. So we do actually need to give both the type and the plan because the plans can have overlapping names. I still have this error though. This doesn't make sense to me. Do I need to flush? Accept donations. I can change these. Get subscribers. I can't change these. It's really weird how that happens. Show wizard. This formatting is weird. This formatting is weird. So it surprises me that Y key is not making these things unique, or if it is, that's not resolving the problem. So Y key is get subscribers yearly. That makes sense. If I go back here, next, I can change these again because selected type is not. Maybe, okay, so keying is good. I think keying is a good thing to do here because these things can have overlapping names. But maybe what we should do is if you change the type, we should nuke the current plan. So you theoretically now can select a plan here and you can go back and you can go forward and it remembers that. But if you go get subscribers, next, it blanks out what you had. And you should be able to select here now, but apparently still not. I think this is necessary. There's something else that's still wrong. Is it in this option? Now I'm just going to do process of elimination. Is it in this option? Is it both of them? How do I resolve this garbage? Plans array, parent plans. There's no comma in these. There's no comma in these. There's a comma in these. If this is it, I'm going to freak out. Oh, for goodness sake! JSON encode properly! What is this doing? Why would a comma inline Sorry, I just need to post this issue. No. New issue. Woo! I have this object. Thanks for sticking around while I make this bug report. It's indented properly. Use it in the view and emit it as add. Okay, issue posted. And with that, I think we have reached the end of the stream. So let's look at this list. We are displaying the list of things. We are showing the default plans in the UI. We're not saving plans, changes to plans. We are not assigning this stuff, and we didn't get to the stretch goal. So I definitely want to figure out how to encode plan details so that I can use commas, because that seems like a fairly basic need. I'm pretty sure my descriptions will need commas or other punctuation at some point. So that's the one thing. Then I need to, which I figured out now during the stream, I need to split GitHub and Bitbucket repo selection. So it's basically taking the existing component that already does the OAuth and repo fetching and splitting it into two that does OAuth and fetching for a specific plan. OAuth and fetching for GitHub, and then OAuth and fetching for Bitbucket, which is fine. Create settings screen for plans, send current plan with uploads and settings changes. Okay, so those are the things I've discovered during the stream that I want to work on, goes towards these things. I think it's been a productive hour. I think before I go, I will just store the changes here. So, what's going to irritate me? I hate those extra spaces. I wish my editor would get rid of them. What can you do? Otherwise, that all looks cool. It's just adding extra plans and rendering them. Okay. Show default plans, custom plans per type. Render them. Cool. 150 lines of code. This whole stream has been 150 lines of code. I think that's where I'm going to call it, though. Now, I wonder how possible it will be to raid from here. That's really weird. I don't see a way to raid from Restream, which is weird. I might have to go to Twitch's UI to do this. I'm going to go to Twitch's UI because I would like to raid if Beachcast is on, and Beachcast is on. So let me go there quickly. I'm going to be able to do this. Create a dashboard. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out this UI. I am not used to streaming with Restream and then coming back. How do I... Stream Manager. Okay, cool. There I see. Okay, so I am going to raid Beachcast's Adam Culp, who is also PHP dev, and currently he's doing a bit of AWS stuff, and it's pretty exciting. If you haven't been to his stream before, check it out and give him a shot. And thank you for being here and for chatting in chat if you have. And I will be back here tomorrow at the same time, so an hour ago tomorrow. So there's that. Cool.